Hey guys, so today I wanted to do a quick review of this little guy, which is a Yeti Sidekick Dry. This is the 3-liter version. There's also a 1-liter version and 6-liter version. I have a 3-liter one and a 6-liter one as well. The 1-liter one I haven't found the use case for yet, so I haven't bought that one yet. So, what is this guy? This is supposed to be a completely waterproof bag, like a little purse, that, is not gonna get anything wet on the inside. Does that make any sense? Let me try that again. This is gonna keep everything dry, whatever you put on the inside. At least that's the idea. So let's look around it. So first of all, it has the same material that most Yeti products have on the outside, right? This kind of like rough material that's pretty good, but obviously does mark up a little bit. On this guy, I don't have anything because I haven't really thrown it down on the rocks or haven't really rubbed against the trees with it. So this guy is pretty good. He's also fairly new. Doesn't have too many years of usage, but I have been using their sidekicks for a really long time. And I have quite a few years of experience with these guys. They just went through a redesign stage where they tried out a bunch of new things inside these Sidekick Dries. So this is the kind of the updated, the latest version of them. So basically, the way it's constructed is over here, you have fairly strong Velcro, as you can see. The problem with this Velcro, though, it does get a little bit weaker over time, right? Obviously, every Velcro does that, right? Because every time you close it and open it, what happens is these little hooks of the Velcro, they catch these little loops of fabric and they do kind of rip them over time, right? So it does get weaker and weaker. It does take a while to get weaker, but it does happen eventually. So the Velcro opens up, and over here you have this little tag that's done in the same two-tone color, so it stands out. And you pull on that, and what this does is it opens up this bag purse thing that's supposed to be waterproof. Over here you have a whole row of magnets on both sides, and they attach together, forming a somewhat waterproof seal. I'll talk why somewhat in a bit, but that's the core idea, right? You kind of provide the waterproofness by kind of joining two super slippery, like super sleek rubbery materials with magnets together and fold the fabric over, and that what keeps it from being waterproof. In theory. In reality, this does work pretty well, right? So there is, how can I show you? There is a little bit of a net pocket on the inside, as you can see, which is, it's okay. It provides you a little bit of separation of stuff on the inside, so you can put like your phone in here and keys on the bottom so they don't kind of like rub against each other and scratch your phone up. You can also put some like smaller items at the top, like maybe a case of Advil or something like that, right? Which makes it really nice. But I mean, for one of the improvements already is a little bit more storage inside, like a little bit more storage ideas, or instead of just like one little pocket, maybe add a pocket on the other side or something like that, because that's all it does. It's like a very thin material. As you can see, it's just it's has holes in it. It doesn't really provide too much protection. So if you're putting like 2 phones, 3 phones inside, a couple keys and things like that, and if you're really hardcore using this item, all that stuff can get all over the place inside this bag. What kind of things do I put inside of it? I usually put some things like Band-Aids, just for emergencies, maybe a whistle, unless I have that on a life jacket while I'm pedal boarding or doing other things, a couple protein bars, things like that, and as I mentioned, like a little case of Advil just in case somebody gets a headache, right? So really nice. Other than that, I can put a couple sandwiches in here, of course, in Ziplocs, and my phone again goes in that little net on the inside of it. right? So the way, or the problems with this item. This is, by the way, one, before I talk about the problems, this is one of my most favorite item from Yeti, just because of the ease of use, right? Like, you easily open this up, you get whatever you want from the inside, you close it off, and it does stay relatively waterproof if you kind of know its limitations. So the first limitation is that when you buy this product, you got to make sure it's actually waterproof or airtight, right? Because if air can get in or get out, it makes the whole box not waterproof, right? Because air and water, I mean, although they're fairly different, in a way they work similarly here. So the way to do that is to make sure you close everything, right? Make sure this is nicely done and it's not, not folded inwards. Like, I'll show as an example. Make sure it's not like that, because that will not keep it from being waterproof. It kind of like functions on the fact that this whole bladder is inflated, let's just call it that. So when you get your Sidekick Dry, you kind of close it, make sure this is nice, make sure this is nice and closed, and then what you do is you hold it from here, and press on it as hard as you humanly can, right? And you kind of trying to see if there is any air leakage, if this is deflating, if you can hear any air leaking from the seams over here, because there has been quite a lot of these produced which do have that issue. And if that's the case, then, it's not going to prevent from water getting inside when you're doing some pretty gnarly water activities. Of course, it will be water resistant, like little splashes, rain, all that kind of stuff. It will keep it nice and dry. But if you're actually using this, like as a bag, while pedal boarding, or you use it on your, on your belt when fishing or doing some river exploration activities, or you jump into the water, things like that, then this becomes a problem. The other issue is the build quality is a little bit strange. So I'll show you this. So this is Yeti logo, right? The branding that they do all the time. The logo here is a layer on top of the other material. So if you could see, let me try to position the camera. You see that little black line? That material is on top of this blue material, which in theory, what's the problem, right? Shouldn't be a problem, but in reality, you see these little fiberglass strips, or whatever you call them, they're kind of peeling out of this logo. And you see it makes the whole logo look fuzzy. Like, what is this? Why? And you can even see that around the edges, all around the bag. It just makes it look a little weird. Like, I don't understand why they couldn't have done this better. Like, and there's some edges that are a little bit weird as well, right? You can see that. It's just a little bit weird. And you know what's the funniest thing? Is that Yeti can actually do better than this. If I bring out the lunchbox, it also has this logo. But that logo, if I can just position it for the camera, it is not raised almost at all. It's a very thin, sleek material. Here they use the same material as on the product itself, and because of that, it's quite thick, and it's, like things are literally coming out of it. And I have to basically, to keep this in top shape, I have to go around and give it a haircut once in a while to get rid of all these little guys, to make it look, not fuzzy, because this is kind of strange. Here, you don't have that issue at all, right? This is nice and sleek. It still feels the same quality, if not even higher quality. Like, it feels like, those little rubbery tags on some shirts, like very thick, high quality ones. And there's no fraying around the edges of the logo at all, right? So they could have done better, right? Like, why didn't they? I can't imagine that this cost way more to make than this. Like, the price point of this is around $100, right? Canadian, right? Not American. The price point of this guy, I believe, is $75, right? And of course, there's less material. This has way more material in it. This has insulation. This doesn't have insulation. It does have a bunch more magnets, yes, but you know, like this, I can't imagine this costing much more to do this nicer. So that's my one gripe with this little guy. The other gripe is very interesting. So this again came up with me using this product for many years now. On the bottom or on the back, I haven't really shown you that yet. It has these attachment velcros that attach to their coolers, right? The soft coolers. The way it works is you kind of open up both the bottom and the top, and you slide it over the. Let me show you. I mean, this has the similar kind of idea. You know, like little loops like this, but on their backpack. You kind of slide that in. It folds over it, and you attach it back with Velcro, right? In theory, really awesome idea, really cool attachment. It always stays attached, it never really comes off. Great. But here's the funny part. When you fold it over the fabric, right, towards the center, there's the space on the sides. You see how the Velcro, the soft part of the Velcro, is from here, from the top edge, to over here, and then there is emptiness. The scratchy material, right, of the hooks and loops, right, of the Velcro, goes all the way from here, all the way to the other side. So when you fold it over, you have the scratchy hooks and loops go all the way to the edge, right? And that, like, what's the problem with that, right? The problem is that once this is on the backpack, on the Yeti cooler or, well, Yeti backpack, whatever you attach it to, this part, because it doesn't get attached to the backpack, you know, really solidly, it does move around a little bit, right? Like while you're walking, when you're, you know, rubbing against things, when you're setting it down, things like that, when you put more items in here, it kind of bounces up and down, right? So these hooks scratch on the straps of the backpack. And that does kind of fray up the material over time. So one solution for that, I can show you quickly, that I've done on the backpack. This is the big backpack guy. I'll be able to show that. But what I did, oh yeah, you can see that. I've added the Velcro, like, you know, basically closed off the hooks with just a little strip of Velcro that is the same exact size as these straps, so that the hook part of the Velcro is closed off and it's not rubbing against these loops, fraying them up and making them look a little bit, you know, janky. Yeah, and by the way, this is the big guy. This is the 6 liter versus 3 liter. Apparently, well, I mean, this one is supposed to be 2 times bigger. It's, you know, 6 and 3 liter. And it is bigger. You can see it's obviously it's bigger in width, right? There's quite a bit more material here. It's also bigger in height, and it's even bigger in thickness, right? Let me try to position this. Yeah, it is a little bit thicker, but you know, like this guy is obviously much better for actually attaching to the backpack, unless you really want to carry with you a lot of stuff, but something in between a huge backpack and a small little 3 liter carry-on. Then I guess you could use this, but attaching this guy to, you know, like a shoulder strap or onto your belt, which it does have the ability to do so because these are both loops as well, so you can put the belt through it, is, you know, not the most ideal, because this is really huge, right? Like once you attach something to yourself on the side, every time you kind of bend or, you know, fold, because, you know, we're humans, we're not rigid, you do kind of press against it. When you press against it, it becomes, first of all, uncomfortable, especially if it's like in front or on the side of you, but also it does have, like, increase the chance of this actually opening up and exposing all your stuff to the water. So I'm gonna break this guy down so we have more space. So I talked about this problem. I add a little bit of the Velcro soft side to kind of close off the loops, and now it doesn't rub. Great. But then, what is another issue with this guy? The issue with this guy is that it's not really the best for hardcore water activities. And what I mean by that is I've jumped into the water with this thing on my belt, and it did open up. The reason how it can open up is that this Velcro, as strong as the Velcro is not foolproof device, I would say, right? It still does open up, especially if you didn't like close it properly. Sometimes you could overstuff it or understuff it, and the Velcro misaligns slightly and, you know, doesn't loop 100% to 100%. Right, let me see if I can show that. Yeah, like if it's like slightly misaligned, it's not going to use the full strength of the Velcro, right? As well as when you're doing something or even jumping to the water can technically push up against this edge, opening this up. Once this is opened up, it still is somewhat water resistant, but to get water inside of this, all you gotta do is press down slightly. That wasn't even that much force, but because all it is held up by is a strip of magnets. So, you know, if it's abrupt impact into the water, it opens up, lets the water or air out, water in, things like that. It just doesn't stay perfectly waterproof, which is not the best. So how could this product be improved? Well, I mean, for once, obviously fix this, you know, scratchy loop material where it's not supposed to be. There's no reason at all for it to be all the way on the sides. Unless I'm missing some use case, I can't imagine why you would want that. That's number one. Number two is this flap needs to attach to the body of this bag in a better way, in a more sturdy way. The funny thing is that Yeti has already solved this issue in another product. So if we look again at the lunchbox, it's not supposed to be waterproof, and it's not waterproof because this does not have the arrays of magnets. Here, it has the hook that you can attach to the loop, and no matter what you do, no matter how much you jump into the water, in theory, this will not open up at all. So why this part is not on here, I don't understand. I mean, I would pay, you know, 10, 20 bucks more for this item if it was more hardcore waterproof, if it could withstand, you know, harder impact into the water, if I really did not need to care about items that go inside of it, plus still a quick and easy access. You could have this loop, you could still have the Velcro, right? If you're doing a soft activity in the water, you just attach it by the Velcro, and whatever, awesome, like I'm not gonna jump into the water, whatever. But let's say you're doing some cliff jumping, or just even like little jump into the water, could already open this up, in theory. Let's say you're doing some whitewater rafting, right? Like, I don't mind just, you know, like sticking this in to having that extra protection, kind of like a seatbelt for your car, right? It just gives you so much more protection if this was on here. It baffles my mind why they didn't do that. I do not understand. So the funny part is, yeah, like this could be improved with more magnets, so it's more leak resistant. And this, when it has more magnets and the Velcro, this could be improved with the little hook from here. It's like they have the ideas, they have all the building blocks, they just gotta put them together into a one nice product. But yeah, so that's my little gripe with the Yeti Sidekick Dry and it kind of opening up. I do have a quick solution for that though. One way you could solve this issue is because you have so much material on the back, you can just easily wrap some rope around it and just tie it up. Or, even easier, because rope is kind of annoying, right? You gotta tie it up, you gotta untie it unless you do some, like a carabiner. That might work nicely. But, if you have a lot of Yeti products, or a lot of Yeti backpacks, what you get in those are these, what do you call them? Like the chest straps, right? They attach with a little, kind of like a S-shaped hook to the straps on the backpack. And the way these could be used is, take this guy, and you put it through this Velcro loop, and then all you do is, it's a little bit easier when it's sitting down because it's straight, attach it that way to the bottom, into that loop that had the little hooks and loops, and you go all the way to the top or through the top and attach it to the other side. Let me just undo that. Come on, come on. And there you go. What you get is basically an attachment of this shoulder strap, and now you have a seat belt for the Sidekick Dry that makes it quite a bit harder to open up in the water, right? And you can do the same thing on the other side. That's exactly what I've been doing. I basically did it on one side and on the other side so that I have a little bit more protection from the water when I go do some more fun water activities like river tubing or things like that, right? This just gives it a little bit extra edge over the Sidekick without these straps. Yes, it takes a little bit longer, a little bit more time to actually get in there, but it's not that bad, right? You press that, you're in your bag. As simple as that. You close that off, you find the ends, kind of do them in, do one in, do the other one in, and there you go. It's much better. Right now, if you press on it, it does still try to open up. As you can hear, the Velcro does kind of give up a bit more than it should, but it still is a little bit stronger than without these guys at all. Because without these guys, if you press on it hard enough, the Velcro opens up and the magnets release the air, obviously letting the water go in. So it's not the most ideal, but this is probably my second most favorite Yeti product just because of the versatility, right? It's pretty awesome. It keeps stuff relatively dry if you're not doing anything hardcore, and you know, it doesn't cost a fortune, which is pretty awesome. Yeah, so that was the review of Sidekick Dry, of the 3-liter one. For the 6-liter one, well, I mean, you saw it's quite a bit bigger. You can put multiple phones in there. You can put multi-tools, especially if it's attached to like a cooler or a backpack. You can add like a bunch of snacks in it. You know, trail mix, whatever you'd like. It has quite a lot of room in it, and it does basically give you more space in your cooler, right? You can have cold stuff in the cooler, and then you can put all the dry stuff on the outside of it, which is really nice. And I have even jumped into the water with the cooler and with the Sidekick attached to it, and it does not open up. So over there, it stays relatively secured. It just like basically when you're carrying it on your person, that's when it becomes a little bit of an issue. But again, it's an awesome product if you know its limitations and you know how to avoid them and you know how to, you know, use it properly. So yeah, thanks for today, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.